Thank you very much for the kind introduction, dear ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panel, distinguished participants in the audience. I'm very pleased and honored to have been invited to address you here today in this very important event. I represent, as has already been mentioned, Climate Kick, which is a knowledge and innovation community set up by the European Commission, or more specifically said, by the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Currently, we have 6 knowledge and innovation communities in the European Union, all of which address important societal challenges, such as climate change, energy future, digitalization, health, raw materials, and food. And I've been invited today to this important event to give you a little bit about the background of what we are doing on the issue of climate change that is so intrinsically linked to the challenge of air pollution. So there's no way to think about climate change without thinking about air pollution as well. And vice versa, there's also no way to think about air pollution without thinking about climate change. So as you can see here on the slide, climate change is really one of the biggest societal challenges that we are currently facing. And as it has been mentioned by previous speakers, it is really very much linked to a number of other problems, such as air pollution, environmental health, well-being of communities, well-being of children. And as you can also see on this slide, it is very worrying that we are currently not really on track to very much cut our emissions down as much as we would need to in order to fulfill the targets that we have set for ourselves under agreements such as the Paris Agreement. But also the European Union is currently not on track to deliver upon its 2030 goals. And in order for us to tackle this big challenge of climate change and really make a considerable impact, what we need is innovation. And we really need systemic innovation, innovation that transforms systems, because only by addressing climate change via point innovations, we will not be able to fulfill our targets and bring the world on a zero carbon path. So how do we, as a knowledge and innovation community, contribute to that work, and how does that also relate to you who are sitting here today in the audience? So Climate Kick, as I've already mentioned, is a knowledge and innovation community. So we are very much about bringing together different sectors. We are very much about bringing together the so-called knowledge triangle, the quadruple helix, about working with research, with education, with business to really tackle this big challenge of climate change. What do? We bring all these actors that I've just mentioned together to be in a safe environment, to come together and really innovate together, tackling these big challenges. We do partnership-driven innovation projects, so our partners form consortia to address climate change, to address air pollution challenges and topics. We work on business incubation and entrepreneurship, so we work with the many startups that are out there in Europe working on air pollution, monitoring data, and providing solutions to our citizens. We work with municipalities and cities in open innovation challenges. For example, here I can mention last year we have done an open innovation challenge in the city of Sofia in Bulgaria, where the municipality came to us and said, air pollution is one of the biggest challenges that we are facing. Can you help us? Can you bring solution providers? Can you bring startups, SMEs that are looking at this topic, that can bring this solution to Sofia and help us address this, help us address the big health problems that our citizens are facing? And then we also work on education and capacity building that is basically underpinning all that we are doing. We work all across Europe, but there is one program that I would very much like to draw your attention to, which is the so-called EIT Regional Innovation Scheme program, which is also very relevant to actors here in Lithuania, and which specifically focuses on EU 13 countries, where some of the challenges that climate change and air pollution are related to are most vividly felt already. So we are very much convinced that we need to work all across Europe, and we specifically also need to work in the countries where climate change and where air pollution are currently the most felt already. So what do we do in this program? At the moment we are targeting 9 countries, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Estonia, Latvia, Malta, Portugal, Romania, Serbia and Slovenia. And actually at the moment we are expanding our programs, and Lithuania is one of the countries that we are expanding to. I will talk a little bit about that in my final slide. And in all those countries we work together with organizations across the knowledge triangle. We work with universities, we work with the biggest and most renowned research institutions, we work with businesses to address this challenge locally. So what do we concretely do? We work with ecosystems, where we very much focus on network development and also on internationalization and interlinking, on bringing already existing solutions to climate change and air pollution to other countries and deploy them in those other contexts. As I mentioned, we work with startups, and as a matter of fact, many of our startups focus on air pollution solutions, on solutions that help to monitor data and also to democratize data and make them available for citizens, to empower them to take their own decisions. We work, as I already mentioned, with cities and districts, where we help them to bring and find solutions that are fit for the specific challenges that they are facing. We work with professionals to empower them in capacity building programs and via professional education courses. And we also work with students from bachelor level to PhD level. What is our value proposition? We stimulate low carbon innovation in countries all across Europe to help contribute to bring Europe on this zero carbon or low emission pathway. We help them to boost their own innovation capacity, and we give them the opportunity to become part of a community of leading climate change innovators, to link up with them and together address the challenge of climate change. Via doing that, we also boost the role of the local stakeholders to act as multipliers of knowledge and expertise, and we help to reinforce synergies and complementarities with other EU programs and initiatives. And this is already my final slide. As I have already mentioned, we are very keen to be present all across Europe, because climate change and air pollution are topics that are acutely felt all across Europe. And as I've mentioned, we currently have a call open to look for Lithuanian partners. So I also very much encourage you to get involved and get in touch with me in case you are interested to address the topic of climate change and air pollution with us via innovation.